Peace and Black Power. Today we are going to debunk another Eurocentric myth. This one is rather the most ridiculous, according to me. It's a tweet from Cymexis, and he captions this whole thing as history. Alright, so we'll see what history really says, because history speaks for itself. And in this meme, he claims, or the meme itself claims, that the Dutch arrived in 1652, the Zulu in 1709 in South Africa, the English in 1795, the Tsonga 1800, Maxhosa in 1811, Maswati 1839, Botswana 1852. Yeah, all right. This one is the best. It's a classic example of how brave Europeans are in owning their foolishness. So, the first point, or the first ammunition, first bullet to debunk this ridiculous myth are the artifacts found at Mapungubwe Hill. Mapungubwe is a civilization formed in South Africa, in the Limpopo province, the northern side, the border of, close to the border of Zimbabwe. This is the predecessor of the Great Zimbabwe. Mapungubwe Hill was founded in 1075 AD. So, the question that comes to mind is, what history do the Dutch and the English, what history do they have dating back to 1075 AD? What were they doing in 1075 AD? They had absolutely nothing. They were ruled by the Moors. They were under Moorish rule during that time. And the Moors were still teaching them how to read, write, bath, organize, everything. When the Moors went to build paved roads, put up street lights, public baths, introduce science, mathematics, geography, and all the sciences. So, yeah. Now, this takes me back to a debate I had with Helen Zille. She's a politician from the Racist Democratic Alliance, which is a branch off of, it was a political party anyway during apartheid. It was opposition to the National Party that was ruling at the time. So she once came out with an outrageous claim that Africans benefited from colonialism, and so people went haywire, and it became a big debate on Twitter as well. I think it was also in the news as well, if I'm not mistaken. So in one of the debates I had with her when she was still continuing her myths, I just presented evidence. So when I presented to her that we, the South African baNTU, have history dating back, our latest history prior to colonialism predates European history. When I say European history, I'm talking about the barbarian groups which your Franks, your Huns, your Vandals, your Saxons, etc., which exclude basically the Greeks and the Romans, who were also educated in Africa. So, all right. So now, if we founded a civilization, or we had a kingdom in South Africa dating back to 1075, which had scientific activities such as mining and gold metallurgy. So the question is, how were we doing this in 1075 in South Africa if we had not yet arrived, if we arrived 600 years later or whatever? And obviously they have been using this Khoisan claim. And first of all, there is no such group of people called Khoisan. There are Khoi people and there are San people. These are separate people, you know. So just like you don't have Anglo-Dutch people. So yeah, now the Khoi people and the San people, that's basically ask the question, could they have developed this? And the answer would be no, because they were nomads. They never settled. Anglo-Boer was a settlement founded 1075, lasted a few centuries. So Khoi couldn't have developed that. Now, the last part of it is the last example I would like to give. Oh, and speaking of Great Zimbabwe Monument, I've got the replicas of the I've got some artifacts here. So that I got from Great Zimbabwe Monument when I visited there in 2017. And this is the successor of Mapungubwe. And the other example would be in Zalwelanga, which Europeans have named Adam's calendar. Adam's calendar in Zalwelanga has been dated back to 75,000 years. It is the oldest astronomical calendar in the world, a stone calendar. It is older than Stonehenge. It is older than Neptune in Egypt. And it is an astronomical stone calendar that marks the patterns of the seasons. It marks the seasons, your winter solstice, summer solstice, your spring equinoxes and all that. So that also cannot have been formed by the Khoi and the San for the same particular reason. Calendars cannot be not formed by nomads, and nomads do not settle. Calendars are used because the purpose of being a nomad is to move with the seasons. So if you are in a particular season and the plants die out, it's winter, or there's a drought. So when you run out of resources, you move along. But specifically, seasonal activities do affect the nomads quite a lot. So they will move quite more frequently. So when an established kingdom like Mapungubwe lasted a few centuries, and they did migrate as well, but they were not nomadic. They just relocated. So that's the difference. So for one, the reason why one forms a calendar is because you've decided to settle. And if you settle in a place, you would need to know the patterns, you would need to know the seasons in order to survive in one place while the seasons are changing. So usually settling, people that settle are usually agriculturists. So you will settle because you will grow your own food. But even though you do grow your own food, you would need to know your sowing seasons. You would need to know how much time you need to have. From this time to that time, I can start growing my food. And so you know that you have to move according to schedule. You cannot just live. And you would know how long you'd have to stay without growing any food or harvesting. That's where storage comes in. So you would need to calculate how much food I'd need to produce for the seasons when I cannot grow food. And methods of preserving the food would then introduce chemistry. So Adam's calendar, Inzalo Yelanga, could not have been developed by nomads. So it was not developed by the Khoi and San. It could have only been developed by settlers, African settlers. And who would those be? The baNTU people, 75,000 years ago, which our retarded friend here claims arrived after the Dutch. So I've always thought it's a ridiculous thing that just must be ignored. But it's important that we do address them, regardless of the fact that it's ridiculous. Because 1300 years ago, it was ridiculous to think that Arabs are native in Africa. Because that's the time they actually arrived here. So that was left unchecked for 1,000 years. And you walk on the street, you ask an average African, they'll tell you that Arabs are native in Africa. So very important to address. So that's it for today. If you've enjoyed the video, do like, share and subscribe. And in the next one, we will look forward to the next debunking of Eurocentric myths using historical evidence. Peace and Black Power.